Good afternoon from a very grey Great Britain. Um, Here we have the Valium 1 in 72nd Valetta, the Vickers Valetta. Now, I build what if models. My dad likes to collect proper models. And when I suggested that he got the Valetta, which he did, and asked me to build it, I thought, well, this is probably another one of those marginal types that Britain built five of, and it wasn't very successful. That's my initial kind of view because no one really talks about the Valletta. How wrong was I? The Valletta was the RAF derivative of the Viking airliner, a piston airliner built after World War II. How successful was it? Well, the RAF used 262 odd of these 11 VIP aircraft. The rest were transport aircraft. And 449, I believe, I might be wrong on that, but 400 odd, 440 odd, 449, I think, Vikings were built. The type was extensively used as a civilian airliner, and then the Valletta had a strengthened floor, uprated engines, and was used as a transport plane. And I thought, well, why on earth have none of the big manufacturers built this model? And then I remembered, they only want to build Spitfires. So come on, Airfix. This is a aircraft with great heritage that was well used and that is pretty much forgotten today. The Viking, like I said, was a successful airliner. The Valletta here with a large cargo door, strengthened floor, uprated engines, was used by the RAF for transport and was used operationally in the Suez Crisis. So I started to do a bit more digging around how this aircraft came about, and its lineage goes back to the Wellington bomber, the Vickers Wellington bomber. It was the replacement for the C-47 in RAF service. And when you look at Airfix's kit range, you've got the lovely C-47, you look at Italeri, you've got the C-47, but no Valletta. So what's happened? Well, it's become another forgotten type. After World War II, Lend-Lease had been applied and the Americans said, right, start paying for the stuff or give it back. So the RAF and the British government was in a position where they couldn't pay for anything. So they had to give it back or pay for it. So they also wanted to restart the civilian aviation industry. And that's where the Viking project came from. Let's get all the thousands of demobbed soldiers back to work, start making stuff, keep the profit within the country, and start to have British aircraft flying in the roles that American aircraft had filled during the war. So that's really the genesis of the type. Of course, Vickers want to move into civilian stuff, and they built the Viking, very successful. The Vallettas then picked up by the RAF, used I think until 1969, so not a long history, but of course turboprop aircraft come in and replace it. It's very sad that none of these really survive in flying condition. It's really sad that you've got like the Basler BT-67 reinvigorating the DC-3, but there's no turbo Vallettas or Vikings there, and it just shows how really the British aviation heritage has been forgotten. And this type, whilst important and crucial, has pretty much gone by the wayside. Now, let's talk about the kit. This is the Valium kit. Valium at least have the guts to do stuff that the big manufacturers don't. I think they're from the Czech Republic. Their intentions are absolutely good. The windows don't fit in too great. They are the right size for the holes, but they're very easy to push out and push through, if that makes sense. And once you've done that, of course, the window gets lost in the fuselage. So if they could put some tabs on the back to hold them in position, that'd be great. I've used sellotape and then glue, but I still wouldn't recommend touching the windows. The cockpit is nice, although sadly you don't see much of it. And I'm going to be painting this now with the primer. I've opted for filler seat belts rather than the etched ones because the etch is microscopic, but it does come with a ton of etch. Mouldings are okay. As you can see, you have to do a lot of filling and sanding, but do you know what? Nothing more than in Italeri aircraft. Everything sort of goes into place. The plastic is soft, so you can manipulate it a bit. And I doubt that an inexperienced modeller, I need to fix that gear door that's moved. I doubt that an inexperienced modeller would be building a Valetta, because I think they would probably go for something like the C47 kit, in all honesty. So I expect it's going to be experienced modelers building the Valetta kit, and it does need a lot of fettling to get the parts to fit, but once they do, you get a lovely result. And this is the British post-war C47. I'm going to get this primed and painted, hopefully ready for my dad for Christmas. Comes with some nice schemes. You've got the Suez scheme here, and then you've got this other one here. Now the Valettas seem to be deployed a lot outside the UK, and this one is in Changi Airport, that'd be Singapore, 1950, and RAF Nicosia, that's Cyprus, Operation Musketeer, so that's the Suez Crisis in 1956, with these nice bands which I'm hoping to pick out using Tamiya tape, white on top, natural metal finish underneath, and pretty much everywhere else. I hate spraying white, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to get this primed, give it another sand, and then we'll take it from there. So, a forgotten type. Take care. Goodbye.